Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for that, Irma. Good afternoon, parents. Today, I have the absolute pleasure to bring our friends from G-Force at the University of Texas at San Antonio. These wonderful people represent an initiative that has been around in San Antonio ISD for a long, long time, and which seeks to ensure students have access to what we call a near peer mentor, or a mentor that is closer in age to high school students than us boring adults are. So today, the GeForce team, led by Kayla Martinez here, will have the presentation for you. And so I really just have the pleasure today of passing the microphone to her. This is the Kayla Martinez is the senior program coordinator with the Office of Community Outreach at the University of Texas at San Antonio, and she will be the one leading us through today's session. So, Kayla, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Sasaki, so much for having us and inviting us. We're so honored to be with you guys this afternoon. Welcome to our parents. My name is Kayla Martinez. As Dr. Sasaki mentioned, I am the Senior Program Coordinator for Community Outreach and Transfer Recruitment at the University of Texas at San Antonio, and I have the extreme pleasure of supervising about 15 G-Force mentors. And so really their responsibility, their job is all about creating a college-going culture within and around San Antonio. So they're participating in all kinds of sessions, speaking to people, everyone from families and parents to transfer students to high school students to even elementary and middle school students. So we really have a great opportunity to just tell the San Antonio community that college is an opportunity to make something of yourself, and that you can do it. And so they're speaking, sharing their experiences. They're giving tips for success in high school. They're sharing tips for parents to help their students. And that's really what we're here today to do. And I've been at UTSA since I was a student. I'm a proud alum. I've gotten both of my degrees at UTSA. So back in 2008, I started as a work study and haven't left. So I've literally been there like 13 years and got my undergraduate degree in English and then went on to get my master's degree in educational leadership. So I like to say I bleed orange and blue. I love UTSA and I love what I get to do. And so, as mentioned, we do welcome any questions. So if, please feel free to utilize the chat feature. We'll be asking our students questions throughout the presentation and then at the end as well. So definitely encourage those questions. And with that note, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our G-Force mentors and current UTSA students who are here. So they're just going to share who they are, what they're studying, maybe where they're from. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Maria to introduce herself first, and then you guys can just pass it around.
Hello, I'm Maria. I am a freshman at UTSA. I'm studying criminal justice with a minor in Spanish. And I am going to pass it to my next coworker, whoever wants to go next.
I'll go. Hi, I'm Mariana Guzman. I am a sophomore at UTSA. I am studying criminal justice with a minor in psychology, and I am from McAllen, Texas. Maddie, go.
Hi everyone, my name is Madison Hill. I am a junior at UTSA, currently studying criminal justice, and I am originally from Houston, Texas, and I will pass it on to Mackenzie.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Estrada. I'm a freshman and my major is medical humanities with a concentration of pre-med, and I am from Corpus Christi, Texas.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. And you'll be hearing from them throughout the session. As Dr. Sasaki said, they are a lot more interesting than us, so I'm sure you'll enjoy hearing from them. But before we get into some of their experiences, we're here to share a lot of different information, how to really prepare your child for college. So some college 101. And I think before we can get into that, we have to think about, why college? Why is college important? And so continuing education not only adds skills and knowledge, but it opens doors to employment opportunities. It creates opportunity to make more money. You know, something I say in my session to elementary, middle school students is the more you learn, the more you earn, right? And so you can absolutely get a job out of high school, but you're going to have more opportunities at your hands by having that college degree. And so we like to say that college is an investment. It's an investment of your finances. It's an investment of your time to be able to move forward more easily in the future. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and open it up. So girls, one of the first questions we have for you is, when did you start thinking about about attending UTSA and deciding what you wanted to study?
I can go. I regret not starting sooner. I didn't really start thinking about college till like I would say like my sophomore year of high school. And I didn't really know what I wanted to study. I just kind of threw myself into the business side of college because my sisters study business and they're very successful in it. So coming in as a freshman, I was a business major until I realized it wasn't really like what I wanted to do completely. So I started thinking about it, and so now I'm a criminal justice major. I just really find all like the forensics and like investigation part of it really interesting. So that is what I plan to do. So that's how I just decided to go into criminal justice. Now, do you want to go next?
So I, like Ariana, did not really start thinking about college until later in high school. I was actually maybe midway through junior year thinking about the SAT, and I was like, oh, wait, college is coming up. I should probably start investing more of my time into it, because neither of my parents went to college. A lot of my family didn't, so I didn't really have a lot of like inspiration about college, and I didn't really know a lot. So it wasn't until later in high school that I even thought about college, and I chose UTSA because I originally came in as a biology major, pre-med. So the UT health system was the main reason I chose UTSA. So yeah, it was definitely a later start for me than what it should have been. Maria?
Unlike my other coworkers, I actually started thinking about college in middle school. I was very thankful to be part of a program that was called AVID, which is a college prep program. Um, and so since middle school, I kind of just was led into that. I kind of walked away from it for a while and then came back into that program in high school. So that's when it got more serious and I started thinking more about college. I chose criminal justice because ever I had been going to a STEM program as well, and I we had some criminal justice major people come and talk to us, and I kind of just fell in love with the idea of it all. So I just continued doing that, and now I'm thankful that I'm in it. And I chose UTSA because it was honestly the best school for me as an individual, especially economically, and allowing me to be represented in a large amount, especially because we're all, there's a large amount of Hispanic students. So I like that about it. And then I'll pass it on to Mackenzie.
I started thinking about college probably later in high school, around junior year, just like Madison. Um, I always knew that I wanted to go to college, but I didn't really think about where I wanted to go. I just wanted to follow my sister and go to college just like her. And so just like Ariana, my sister was a business major, and I thought, why not follow in her footsteps? And so I was a business major, and I didn't like the way business was, so I wanted to change to something where I could help people because I really love to help people. And so I thought pre-med would be a great choice for me.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. All right, moving right along. So let's discuss what documents and activities you will want to be keeping track of during your student's high school career. So keeping track of these documents will really make it significantly easier when it comes to completing your college applications and applying for scholarships. So doing things like taking dual credit and AP classes and keeping track of those, preparing for your SATs and your ACTs, learning about financial aid, and researching scholarship opportunities. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later in the presentation. All right, so first we're going to start with dual credit and AP classes. So dual credit courses, students are enrolled in courses where they receive credit from both their high school and their partnering college. Dual credit courses may be taught on the high school campus or at the college campus. And so UTSA does have dual credit opportunity. I know the Alamo colleges do as well. And then AP courses are when students are enrolled in an advanced level course in high school, and when completed, they will take an exam for college credit. UTSA accepts a score of a 3 out of 5 for general admissions. And UTSA also grants college credit to students with AP scores of 3 or higher. And so dual credit and AP courses are a great opportunity to get in a little ahead of your college career. And so I know a handful of students who've actually come in classified as a sophomore, even though they're technically a freshman. It's their first year in college, but they're a sophomore because they took dual credit in AP classes. This also saves a lot of money because these are classes that these students no longer have to take because they already have the college credit for that. So GeForce Mentors, can you please share a little bit about your experience with these advanced courses?
So when I was in high school, I was not offered AP classes because we were a very small high school. There was less than 200 students in my high school. We did have honors classes, which did give us a bit of a higher rank on our GPA, but it didn't really help us get into college. But we did offer dual credit classes. So I began taking dual credit classes my junior year, all throughout my senior year. And like Kayla said, I came into UTSA basically a sophomore. I was, I believe, maybe one class away from being sophomore status. So I do think that dual credit and AP classes, if available, are super important to get that head start when you get into college. Mackenzie.
In high school, I took one dual credit course. I didn't really think that dual credit would do anything for me, and it really did. I came into college with I didn't have to take my writing class or my freshman composition because I did take this class, and I really wish I would have taken it my junior year and my senior year because I would have had a lot of credits already done. And AP, I never really did an AP because I didn't really think it mattered, and it really does matter when you are coming to college. And I'll pass it to Ariana.
So I don't really have a lot of experience with dual credit and AP courses. Um, they did offer them in my college. I just didn't take any, which I completely regret because it's so much cheaper and you're taking them there in high school, and you get that head start, of course, in college. So if they like they were saying, if they do offer it, take them. It's completely worth it. Maria.
I was very thankful that I was able to take both AP and dual credit classes. Like Maddie said, I was actually so ahead that I am considered a sophomore. I'm a freshman, but I'm considered a sophomore academically. It's just a lot, it's a really great opportunity if it's available in the schools that your kids are in or something to take those classes because again, it's money that they're not going to pay in college and classes that they're not going to have to pay in college, will, which will allow them to get ahead in college.
All right. I will also add that when it comes to AP and dual credit courses, yes, your child's going to get credit, but I think an even greater value is that they're kind of getting that experience for college learning at an early age, as far as like the level of difficulty, if you will, because college, I'm sure these girls would agree, it's not high school. It's a little more challenging. It's different, and so I think you kind of get a little taste of that by taking these advanced level courses as well, which is nice. All right, so moving on to just the college admission test, right? So merit-based scholarships are scholarships based on your academic performance. Both the ACT and the SAT are about 4 hours, and they test in reading, writing, and math. The ACT also tests in science reasoning. So students can begin taking them in their junior year of high school. Although at this time, the SAT and the ACT are actually not required for admission, it is still beneficial for them to take to enhance scholarship and financial aid opportunities. And so mentors, can you share with us your experience with the SAT or ACT? When did you take it? How did you study for it? And how did it benefit you when you enrolled into UTSA?
So I took just the SAT. I did not take the ACT, and I only took the SAT once, which I would not recommend. I would definitely take it more than once so that you can get a higher score and get into even more colleges that you apply for that you would potentially want to go to. I believe I took the SAT the spring semester of my junior year, so the semester before my senior year. And that is the score that I used to apply to all the colleges that I did apply for. I'm not entirely sure what the score rank is anymore. I'm not sure if it has changed recently, but when I took it, I made an 1190. And so I got automatic admission into UTSA with that SAT score. And I was also top 25%. So I'm not sure if anybody else has taken the ACT, if you could describe that one, but I do know that the scoring ranks different as the ACT is out of, I believe, 36, and the SAT is out of, I believe, I can't remember what it is exactly. Maybe somebody else elaborate on that. I can't remember what it is. Maria, if you know, would you go ahead and elaborate?
I don't know the exact score, like the perfect score for the SAT. I know it's in the 1,500 or 600, something like that. But I did take the SAT. I had a better experience with the SAT than the ACT. I was not very good at science. I never was. But I took the science and I did all of that just because I felt like it was to be able to see where I was, academically and how I was going to get into college, the type of schools that I was going to be able to get into. But I did a lot better in the SAT just because I knew my strengths, and my strengths were not science whatsoever. So that's really what got my score a little bit lower on the ACT. But I think they're both great depending on the type of schools that you want to go into. Having both scores would allow you to make a better picture of what kind of schools you can get into.
Great, thank you, girls. All right, so next we're going to move on to building a high school portfolio. So when you apply to college, you will be asked to insert a lot of information beginning from your freshman year of high school all the way to your senior year. So we recommend considering building a high school portfolio or resume to help you keep track of any activities you participated in or groups you were a part of. So anything from extracurriculars, choir, band, a sport that you played, to community service, whether that's being involved in your church, whether that's participating in, volunteering at the food bank, whatever it may be. You'll be asked on the college application how long you participated in these activities and organizations, what maybe sort of leadership position you may have held, and what exactly you did. We also want to note that during your high school career, you will want to build relationships with your teachers, your counselors, and even supervisors if you're working, because there is a section on the application that does ask for at least one letter of recommendation. It's not mandatory, but it is highly recommended when it comes to applying for college. And so, mentors, what advice would you give parents and students when it comes to building your high school portfolio?
I would just say the more extracurricular activities you have under your belt, the better. Because all while maintaining a bunch of extracurricular activities and maintaining your grades, those two together look really good. So just staying active, I guess, in a bunch of different activities will definitely help you out in the long run. Mackenzie?
Yeah, I agree. I was in cheer. I was in a whole bunch of sports, and I was also in some clubs like TOKC. It's a cancer organization, and I know that I'm pretty sure that helps me on my college resume. And it does you good in the long run to have a lot of extracurriculars.
I'll add, so one of the things I'm responsible for is I'm on a committee of people who are reviewing admissions applications. And so every week we're reviewing about 10 to 15 applications and, approving or denying them. And I can't tell you how many applications I get in that have no extracurricular, no community service, no job, nothing, no sort of leadership or honors acknowledgement. However, out of all of that, there's at least a good handful that they'll mention something in their essay, like, oh, and when in their personal essay, oh, when I was in band, da 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 da, and I'm like, oh, the student was in band, but they didn't put it on, their application, and so I note that, of course, on their application because they mentioned it. But that's still, had they not wrote the essay, because the essay is not mandatory either. Had they not wrote the essay, all I'm seeing is their application, and it, according to the application, says I was not involved in high school, and that can sometimes work against them. And so definitely make sure that your students are putting that on their application. It is a little tedious and time consuming, but it's so, so important. And including maybe an extracurricular resume and uploading that with your application is helpful as well. All right, so moving on, I also wanted to share that you can actually now take advantage of visiting campuses virtually. And so we know when the pandemic happened, a lot of things shut down, including universities. And so we are getting to a point where UTSA is starting to open up tours for high school students gradually. It's still very, very small, only a handful of students on campus at a time. But there are a lot of opportunities to take tours virtually. UTSA has a virtual tour where somebody's actually, emceeing the tour as you go along. It's pre-recorded. And then our team has done an incredible job at creating a lot of virtual experiences for future road runners, whether, that's an information session on admissions or financial aid or, a application boot camp. I host Mobile Go Mondays, which is when you can come in and get some hands-on help applying for your FAFSA, your financial aid application. So lots of virtual opportunities, and we definitely encourage you to visit our website to see what those are. All right, so when it comes to applying to college applications, this is important to know, open every July for incoming seniors. UTSA does have rolling admissions. So what that means is the sooner you apply and get all of your documents in, the sooner you can find out if you are accepted. So if you need any assistance with application fees, we encourage you to reach out to your high school counselors or the college-bound specialist to assist you, as well as our university college admissions counselors. So mentors, we're going to ask you, what advice would you give parents and students when preparing to apply to college?
I would advise both parents and students to find a time at least every semester to gather all the information that you've done that semester. I know I had a lot of friends when they were in high school senior year that they were struggling to remember all the things that they took part in, all the volunteer hours that they took part in. And they were just really struggling because they knew they did a lot more than what they could remember. And I was thankful that, being part of that AVID college prep program, every semester we were told to update our educational resume so we can write down all the hours that we participated, all the volunteer, especially because there's a lot of students who participate in church, participate not just in school, but outside of school. And they don't remember that. They don't remember how many hours they did. So doing that every semester will allow your students to take less time to apply to schools trying to remember everything that they took part in. So doing that every semester will just make applying to schools way faster, and writing it on a separate paper and having all the hours is just so much easier at the end of the day.
All right, we'll go on to the next slide. So applying for financial aid, so the important stuff, right? Keeping in mind applying for financial assistance. Federal and state financial aid applications open October 1st. We highly encourage you to apply for financial aid as soon as it opens to ensure that you have the most opportunity for financial assistance for your college career. And so essentially how the FAFSA works is it's sort of first come, first serve, if you will. So that's why we say apply when it opens. The sooner you apply, it's the more likely, the more money you're likely to get. And so you'll need to prepare to apply for financial aid in the fall of your senior year. And if you do not qualify for federal assistance, we encourage you to check with your institution of your choice to submit the state financial assistance forms. And so, mentors, we want to ask you, what advice do you have for parents and students when it comes to applying for financial aid?
I would
You're good, Ariana. You can go.
Sorry. I would say just the main thing, like Kayla said, is applying as soon as it comes out. The past 2 years, I have applied October 1st, and I get a good amount of money through the Pell Grant and stuff like that. So just the sooner you submit it, the better, the more chance you have of getting more money and more of your school covered. Go ahead, Maddie.
I was going to add that if you have never filled out the FAFSA before, but you know somebody who has, or you have family members that have done it, friends that have done it, I would definitely ask for help on it because it can be confusing at times, and you want to make sure that you fill it out as correct as possible so that you can get, like Ariana said, as much back as possible to help pay for school. So I would definitely seek out help or seek out advice for when filling it out if you have never filled it out before, so that everything can go as smoothly as possible for you when you fill it out, for the student when you fill it out, and for when you get your financial aid disbursement at the end of it all.
Definitely, and I would piggyback off of Maddie. If you are wanting some help, UTSA has a lot of great resources. We have, of course, our financial aid and our one-stop team. You can make an appointment with somebody to ask questions. But we host a program called Mobile Go Monday, where we have students sign up for an appointment, and you would meet with a G4 student, ask a question, and maybe any questions you might have, or even walk through the financial aid, the FAFSA application with them, and they can assist you with that. I would also add, I hear a lot of times when it comes to thinking about applying for the FAFSA is, oh, I know I'm not going to qualify for anything. My parents make too much, or for whatever reason, I hear them disqualify themselves immediately. I will tell you, apply anyway. The FAFSA costs nothing to apply for. It's a free federal application for federal aid. And so apply anyway. You don't know what you'll be offered, whether it's a grant, whether it's work study. These girls, they're working through work study funds. They were offered that through their financial aid packet. And so even loans. I mean, I know obviously like a lot of us don't like to hear that word, but that is a reality, and that's how you get those loans, is from applying for FAFSA. So apply anyway. It doesn't cost anything except your time. So apply. The next thing we'll talk about is it's important to remember that there are many different ways to receive financial aid. So important to that you begin with either submitting the FAFSA or the TASPA. And after applying for financial aid assistance, you could be actually eligible to receive institutional aid, as well as an opportunity to be matched to other scholarships within a university scholarship database. So UTSA, we actually have a scholarship hub, and it's really, really awesome because you just essentially fill out one application, and based off of the information you're putting in, it's going to link you to scholarships that you're eligible for and that you could potentially get based off of that application. So you don't have to go hunting for, a million and fill out, 10 out of the million. You just fill out one, and it links you to them. So as you're building those professional relationships, it's good to keep in mind that your counselor will also have a lot of resources that you will need to make your transition to college as easy as possible. And so they'll provide some scholarship links to the studentaid.gov and maybe careeronestop.org. And so mentors, we want to ask you, what has been your experience when it comes to applying for scholarships?
When I was in high school, I went to my counselor and she ended up having this giant folder full of different school scholarships for A&M, UTSA, UT, University of Houston, just a lot of different schools. It was scholarships dedicated towards that, but she also had scholarships for high school. So I got a scholarship because I was working in high school. I had 2 classes off actually for career prep. So it was like a class that I had in school to where I could go to my job and get off school early and go work. So because I was in that class, because I worked basically all throughout high school, I was able to apply for this scholarship and I got the scholarship. So there is a lot of different university scholarships, but there is also tons and tons and tons of scholarships that your school in high school will also offer that you are most likely eligible for. It doesn't matter, what class you are in. It just may matter about GPA, but a lot of them are just everybody is eligible and you apply, and it's maybe like essay based. So whoever has like the best essay type thing, or whoever has the most experience like outside of high school, like extracurricular activities, like we mentioned earlier, a lot of that stuff does reflect on when applying for scholarships. So I would definitely apply for as many as possible, all of them. Even if you think you're not eligible, just apply, because scholarships are free money, and who doesn't love free money?
And just like financial aid, like Kayla was saying, even if you don't think you're gonna get it, just apply. I mean, like Maddie said, it doesn't hurt to apply. Um, at this point, free money is, I mean, free is always good. So just, just apply, just do it.
All right, thank you, girls. All right, so UTSA currently has a new initiative helping our middle to low income families. It's called the Bold Promise. Bold Promise is for incoming freshmen who qualify and are admitted by January 15th, which is our financial aid priority deadline. You can find these requirements on our website at utsa.edu future.utsa.edu/promise. You can read the requirements there, but they're on this PowerPoint as well. So be a Texas resident. Your income has to be up to 50,500. Submit a FAFSA or TAFSA by that January 15th deadline, as mentioned. Be admitted as a first-time freshman by January 15th. You also have to rank in the top 25% of your high school class, and then you must be enrolled full-time during your college semesters, which is 12 credit hours or about 4 classes. All right, so now we're going to move on to asking more questions from our student panel, and really just opening it up to you parents. If you have any questions, you're welcome to, again, utilize the chat feature or the raise hand feature. But I do have a handful of questions that I have for you girls. And so I know I asked you maybe when did you start thinking about college, but now I'm going to ask you, when did you actually start preparing for college?
So just as late as I started like thinking about college is just as late as I started preparing for college, which I completely do not recommend. I didn't really start preparing for college until like second semester of my senior year, which is very late. So I recommend to just start thinking about it and start preparing a lot sooner, because it'll just be a lot easier and won't be as stressful. Maria?
I started preparing for college mostly my junior year, beginning of junior year. There was a lot of, trying to research what kind of path I wanted to go to. And then I started to research like everything that I was going to end up needing to apply for schools. And off of that college prep class that I was in, I was able to actually get ahead in when it came to writing essays, whether it was for scholarships or for Applied Texas and all that. We had some of the essays written before senior year. So when it came down to senior year, it was just going to be kind of copy and paste, fix it a little bit to fit the criteria for the essay better. But it just made it a lot easier being prepared like a year ahead or two.
Yeah, like Maria said, I also didn't start truly preparing for college until junior year, just like when I started thinking about college, because I enrolled myself into dual credit through my high school. So when I started doing that, I started realizing, you know what, maybe it's time that I start taking this a bit more seriously and actually start thinking about my future because I'm not going to be in high school forever and I'm going to graduate and I'm going to go to college. So it's time that I start thinking about what I'm going to do in college and where I actually like want to see my life go. So I do think dual credit was a very good like in between step from high school to college. It gave me kind of an idea of what classes would be like, what professors are expecting of you. So I definitely didn't start truly preparing until maybe second semester of junior year.
Mackenzie, did you want to add?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I didn't start preparing until I was in junior year. I wasn't really thinking about it. Honestly, I really don't think that I really was prepared when I came to college because I started so late. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So if that was the case, Mackenzie, can I follow up and say, have you utilized any of UTSA's resources when it comes to assisting, our freshmen? I know we have a lot of really great resources. When you come in, you feel a little like, what am I doing? What do I have to do? Did you utilize anything that we have on campus?
Yes, I did use the tutoring center. I use that a lot. And the SI sessions, they're just student held sessions that help you with your studies. Also my counselor, I really talked to her about what I need to do and how to prepare for my classes and how to study for them, and she really helped me with that.
Awesome. So what was the most difficult part of the process?
I think for me, it was just picking the school. I applied to a bunch of different schools and I wasn't really sure. UTSA was my top choice, but there were just some like, oh, I kind of want to move further away from home, but I also don't want to be too far from home. So I finally settled on UTSA, and I think that was just the most difficult process because with my counselors in high school, they helped me apply to all these schools. So the application process itself was not hard for me. Mackenzie?
The most difficult process was probably transitioning from high school studying to um, college studying because it's way different. The way that you work in high school is not the same, and it won't. How do you say it? It won't be the same pretty much because it's harder in college, and especially online. Like you don't have someone like but on you saying you need to do this, you need to do your work, you have to be to class, go to class, and so that was the hardest for me.
I
I
think I'm sorry, Kayla. I think Miss Juanita had a question. I saw her hand was raised.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to ask your question?
Oh, yes, thank you. I was gonna wait for them to finish answering those questions. But
Okay.
my question is, the students that did take either dual credit or AP classes, what is something they would tell to a student that is currently in high school and is taking those classes but feel that they might be too overwhelming and thinking of, you know, um, downgrading and not taking, future AP classes?
Um, I something I can say to a student that's taking those would be, I know that it might seem really hard right now and it might be really stressful. Um, I recommend that student if they're taking too many and they feel overwhelmed to kind of lower the amount and just take the ones that they think are more important. For example, for me, I took my sciences in high school, my sciences meaning I took dual credit for science and I took dual AP for biology. Just because I knew I was going to struggle more in college taking those classes. By taking them in high school, I was going to have more help from my teacher, from students around me, um, and I kind of just took away the classes that I knew that I was gonna do good in, and I just focused on the hardest classes, and I took those AP classes. I know that they seem the hardest, but get if it's a dual credit and they pass that dual credit and they're staying in Texas, they'll be able to have that credit and they won't have to, if they go into a career that doesn't deal with science. For example, for me, I went into a career that doesn't really focus on science too much. It allowed me to get rid of my sciences. Coming into college, I can focus on the other classes and not be so overwhelmed. So that's something I would tell a high school student taking those classes. It's don't give up, but also don't overwhelm yourself by taking too many. If you truly feel like you cannot do it, I recommend you taking the ones that you feel like you want to get rid of once you get to college. So that's some advice I would give. I don't know if anyone has another kind of advice for those students.
Thank you, Maria. I know we had a question in the chat to share the annual income guideline that qualifies for FAFSA. So, for example, what income is too much and will not qualify is the current concern. And so I can actually take that one. There actually is no income cutoff, so it's kind of hard to answer. There's no income cutoff to qualify for federal student aid because there are actually many factors that are taken into consideration when you're being awarded aid. So things like the size of your family, your year in school, job loss, different things like that are all taken into account. And so it's hard to say an income, a cutoff. So like we said, just apply because there is no income cutoff.
And I think there's two more questions, Ms. Kayla, in Spanish. One is asking who can assist the student with deciding what career and what university they can attend.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes, who can assist a student decide what career path they would like to take and what university would be the best one for them to attend?
I can take that one, Kayla, because it's asking about who at the high school can help. So, Marcela, each high school in SAISD has college-bound advisors, and these are advisors that help students, identify colleges, careers, scholarships, complete the FAFSA, everything that we've talked about today. And so each high school will have that service. Each high school will also have the counselors who can also help with this. But more specifically, there is a directory of college-bound advisors that is out there, and I'll put it in the chat so you can see with contact information for the specific advisor at your son or daughter's high school. That's the person to first start with. They will then connect students with any and all the resources like the G-Force folks, for example, depending on the help that the student needs. But that will be your starting point.
And Dr. Cesati, I think there's another question in Spanish. If they're in the early college, high school, can they also apply for scholarships, and who can use them? Who can assist them in selecting their classes when they go to the university?
Yeah, so in terms of the scholarships for early college, high school, the district will pay for those classes for the kids to take them while they're in high school. So that's why you heard a lot of our peers here talk a lot about take advantage of dual credit courses and advanced courses, because we will pay for those while they're with us. And so they save the money on tuition by not taking it at the college. And they save time, right? They get the credit today rather than a year later. And so that's why they start ahead, as you heard mentioned before. And so for the second question about picking the classes at the college, typically that's something that the college that the student will go to will help with. So the colleges also have these advisors or academic advisors that will guide them through, here's the major you want to do, the degree plan you want to do, and then they'll help kind of pick that. As far as dual credit, that happens at the high school level. Our counselors will help our kids pick the courses that they need so that they can count for dual credit. And then at the college level, I'll actually let the team here tell you a little bit more about that, because that's sort of on their side.
Thank you, Dr.
You want to share?
So about picking the classes, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as you come into college, I know here at UTSA you get assigned an advisor, and with them they're very they know what they're talking about as to your majors. So there's different advisors in different colleges. So you can always set up a meeting with your advisor and they will help you go through your degree plan. And I know some advisors will set up a schedule for you for all 4 years. Some will do it by semester. So my advisor does it by semester, and she'll tell me take these classes, and then after you do those, and then I'll set up another meeting with her at the end of the semester, and then we'll go over courses for that following semester, and just on so on and so on. So um, every college will have an advisor for you, so they will definitely help you pick the classes that you're going to need to take based on your degree plan.
And I don't know if it's offered in all high schools, but I know a lot of how he was saying that there was college bound advisors in the high schools. A lot of those, the one that I had in my high school actually helped a lot of students that weren't really sure about the career they were going to. He was able to give them different kind of assessments to choose a career that's better for them. And once they did that, he would also tell them like, hey, um, go to this, college website and investigate whether these courses are going to help you with that career. And so they can even help you in high school. Your counselors can also help you when it comes to choosing your career path in high school if you have a clear one. A lot of students in high school don't, but from the beginning of high school, I knew I wanted to go into criminal justice. So both my college advisor that was in high school, the college inbound, and my counselor were able to help me choose what classes were going to help me to get to college and don't have to take those in college.
Awesome. Well, let's close with one more question before I have some other things to quickly share before we close the presentation. But can you girls just share what is some advice that you would give these parents when it comes to preparing their students for college?
I guess just reiterating the taking your college courses and staying in extracurricular activities, because those will definitely help you out in the long run. And it just makes you it definitely helps on your resume, and it just looks better when the people who are selecting the students to get into the college, they look and they see that even though you were involved, you still had good grades. So that's when you have, like, I guess, a higher chance of getting in than other students. So, and then if anything is ever not required, like an essay, I still would say submit the essay, because that also helps you out in the long run when you're getting into college. Maria?
Some advice I would give is definitely try to start early. If you know that most students are going to be struggling senior year with their counselors, they're going to be trying to communicate with their counselors a lot. That's when counselors are very busy. I recommend, getting ahead, trying to have all your documents ready before everyone else. That way you're ahead and you don't have to worry about it senior year, and you can actually be calm senior year, and that the only thing you need to do senior year is deciding where to go, and not, oh, do I have everything turned in for that school? Because deadlines are very important. Once that deadline is passed, that's it. So that's something I recommend, is just getting ahead.
Mackenzie or Maddie, do you guys want to add anything?
Something I would say is keep up those grades. I know that's like obvious, but I know for my ACT and my SAT scores, they were average. And so average will get you in, but I was the top 10, or I was top 15% of my class, and I know that really helped me get enrolled into college because of my grades. Because some people aren't very good at tests, and that the grades will always be there behind you to back you up.
All right, let's go on. So just again, reiterating some of these important admissions dates I mentioned throughout. Remember that college applications open July 1st for incoming high school seniors. You can apply on applytexas.org. October 1st is that FAFSA-TASFA application opening, so keep that important date in mind as well for current high school seniors. And then January 15th is the deadline for all required documents to be sent in to be considered for general scholarships, and this is based on automatic merit-based scholarships. Before we wrap up, a couple of upcoming events that we have that I want to personally invite you all to. We have UTSA Day happening Saturday, April 10th. This is a huge open house. It is taking place virtually, and so we welcome you to register and join us for this virtual UTSA Day. Again, Saturday, April 10th, there's going to be presentations from our academic colleges, the financial aid office, housing, and many other different departments at UTSA to share what we have to offer and resources we have to provide your students. Next would be our annual Parent Summit. So this is also a virtual one-day summit, free as well as UTSA Day. It's a collaborative effort between higher education and K through 12 education, as well as businesses and community-based organizations. So the goal is to provide parents with a forum that allows you to engage in conversations to discuss early academic planning. Families are going to be able to register in April, and you will get a chance to win UTSA swag as well as a $100 HEB gift card. So again, that is happening May 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1:30 via Zoom. So make sure you be on the lookout for that registration date or registration opening. And then as we wrap up, I just want to thank you so much for being with us today and allowing us to be here. We look forward to hopefully seeing you guys again soon. If you are interested in keeping connected with UTSA's Family Engagement Program, as well as UTSA events and events around the community, like UTSA Day, the Parent Summit, we encourage you to please sign up for our monthly newsletter, or you can reach out to Melissa Garces, our Senior Program Coordinator of Family Engagement. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Irma.